So we hear a great summary statement. The Lord chose from his disciples, the apostles. He had all his disciples, and he then continued his ministry of healing. That healing ministry continues today. He passes that on to us. We all have a role in healing ministries of one sort or another. Perhaps we don't, there are, of course, miracles today, and there are miraculous healings and exorcisms, but there are more ordinary types of healings, using the medical sciences, the psychological sciences, the pastoral efforts that all of us share. It's not restricted to priests and deacons. All of us can share in pastoral ministry, listening to people, bearing them with their burdens. We think of the Stephen ministry here at our own parish, the St. Vincent de Paul, and so forth. Today we honor a great saint, Peter Claver, who was not perhaps as well familiar as he ought to be. He was a 17th century Spaniard who felt led, called by God to the Jesuit order, and felt called to the mission field. And he went to Colombia. And that was during the time of that horrible part of our history, the slave trade. And he and his companions would greet the slaves after the long journey over the Atlantic Ocean, many of them sick and dying. And he would work his way through the crowds of the slaves and the masters to get to the sick, and he would minister to them in the ways that they had available to them at the time. And oftentimes we were afraid. They didn't understand the language. Many of them thought that they were brought there to be eaten. And he, by his love, would show them compassion and help them to understand that he was there to love them. And he would share with them the Christian faith. And it's been estimated that he baptized about 300,000 when, centuries later, the last Pope Leo XIII, canonized him. He named him the patron of the missions to the black peoples. So, what about us? What are we doing in pastoral ministry? How are each of us dealing with problems? Of course, we can deal with the problems of our family members, our neighbors, the one-on-one things, but we need to think big too. We have to work through our legislators. There are missions that work about the current slave trades. Yes, chattel slavery, such as practiced shamefully in our own country, is no longer there. But slavery still exists. There are children that are put into labor. There are adults that are put into labor at very below living wage. And there are unfortunately children and adults that are subjected to abuse in satisfying other people's physical desires. We need to work with our legislators. We need to work with our bishops and priests to eradicate such harmful, anti-human, slave-type conditions. It's not easy. No one of us can do it by ourselves. But through our prayer, through our working with various agencies, we can address the issue. And may St. Peter Claver pray for us as we do these works of mercy.